How to find happiness. What is happiness, really? It is often misconstrued as pleasure. We chase pleasure, thinking it is the answer to our deepest desires, believing that the gratification of the senses, whether through material wealth, fleeting relationships, or momentary thrills, will lead us to a lasting sense of joy. Yet pleasure is transient, a mere ripple on the surface of our being. True happiness, the kind that transcends time and circumstance, is founded in peace. But where is peace to be found? We often seek it in external things, in achievements, in acquisitions, and in the approval of others. We strive to attain peace, not realizing that peace is not a destination but a state within us. To discover peace, we need not journey outward but instead must journey inward. It is through stillness that peace emerges, for peace is not something we find. It is something we allow to unfold from within, when we cease to disturb the waters of our mind. This, then, leads us to the deeper question: what is the state of mind that cultivates such peace? It is the state of meditation, contemplation, and reflection, a stillness in which the mind quiets. We live in an age where the mind is constantly bombarded with thoughts, fears, worries, anxieties, regrets, and guilt. In fact, modern science suggests that our minds can fire off up to 50,000 thoughts in a single day, many of them negative or self-destructive. These thoughts are like toxins, poisoning the mind and leading us further away from peace. It is no wonder that happiness seems so elusive when the mind is constantly under siege. If we are to find happiness, we must first ask ourselves, do we desire fleeting pleasure, or are we seeking something deeper, more enduring? Pleasure is transient, like the ebb and flow of the tides, sometimes high, sometimes low, but never lasting. Pulls us into a cycle of seeking, acquiring, and losing. True happiness, however, is rooted in peace, which leads us to the ultimate peak of joy, purpose. The pursuit of pleasure alone will never lead us to true fulfillment. If all we seek is momentary enjoyment, we will never rise above the fluctuations of life. But if we seek peace, if we strive to silence the tumult of the mind and return to a state of stillness, then we open ourselves to the highest form of happiness. Happiness is not something to be found. It is something to be realized. We often make the mistake of thinking we need to become happy. But what if happiness is not something we need to pursue, but something we need to be? Consider the moments when you find yourself simply at peace. A quiet sunrise, a calm walk, or gazing up at the sky as birds soar overhead. In these moments, you experience peace, and in peace, you touch happiness. This is the foundation of true joy, a mind free from the toxic storm of unceasing thoughts. To cultivate this state, we must embrace practices of introspection, reflection, and mindfulness. These are not merely exercises but pathways to consciousness and awareness, states in which we are free from the tyranny of the mind. We must learn to shift from a toxic, agitated state of mind to one of calm, centered awareness. This shift occurs through meditation, through the art of simply being still. Solitude, too, plays an essential role in this transformation. Solitude is not isolation, but silence, a sacred space where we can listen to the quiet voice within, the voice of our true self. In solitude, we discover that happiness is not something we have to chase. It is a state of being that arises when we silence the mind, allowing our true nature to emerge. But this is where many of us falter. We have been conditioned to believe that success equates to happiness. We run tirelessly after achievements, promotions, accolades, believing that once we attain them, we will find contentment. Yet, in this relentless pursuit, we never allow ourselves to be still, to reflect, to simply be. And in this failure to be still, we miss the deeper truth. Happiness is not the byproduct of success. It is the byproduct of stillness, of inner peace. Have we ever truly experienced the profound freedom that comes with solitude? How many of us have truly sat in silence long enough to hear the voice of our soul? In those rare moments of reflection, When we step beyond the search for pleasure and success, we reach the ultimate understanding. The purpose of our existence is not to acquire, but to be. When we find our purpose, we realize that we are not our body, our mind, or our ego. We are consciousness itself, divine and eternal. This realization, however, is not something that can be rushed. It requires introspection, solitude, and a deep commitment to silence the noise of the world. In the quiet, we hear the voice of the divine within. And when we hear that voice, we awaken to a state of bliss that transcends pleasure, peace, and even purpose. This is the state of enlightenment, the eternal state of happiness that is always within us, waiting to be uncovered. So, let us make time for solitude. Let us embrace introspection. Let us move beyond the ceaseless race for achievement and embrace the profound peace that comes from simply being. Through meditation, reflection, and mindfulness, we unlock the door to true happiness, the happiness that is not found but realized. If you're seeking to dive deeper into this transformative journey, explore more of these ideas. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube for insightful reflections on life, peace, and the true path to happiness. Let us walk this path together towards the stillness, the peace, and the bliss that await us all.